that you spoke not just about protecting or desilting, etc., but also reclaiming our lakes.
Correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
No, look, I think people tend to make this lake issue an environment issue. I am not a green activist. And I can assure you that thousands of people who have come out to protect the lakes and agitate the lakes, maybe 10-20% of them are environmentalists. 70-80% are just normal citizens who are concerned that public land, public water bodies that serve for multiple purposes. What is a lake? What is the lake's function in our city? We are a plateau. We don't have groundwater. We don't have a sea, river flowing next to us. These lakes are catchment areas of water. Historically, they essentially maintain the groundwater table, they maintain the environmental fauna and the entire ecosystem of Bengaluru, and they also provide for drinking water and for rainfall. You know, the phrase for it, runoff. When you start encroaching lakes and you start killing lakes, two things happen. A, you are pushing the city into a water-deprived water crisis, almost irreversibly pushing it in a direction where you are constantly going to have to depend on Kaveri water, piped in, and you know, as water shortages increase, there will be disputes between legitimate disputes between farmers who want the water for irrigation, other states, riparian states, upper riparian and lower riparian states that want to contest, they want the water. And then you have a city that needs drinking water needs. So we are almost wittingly being pushed into a place where we will have to fight for water. And fight for water with our own brothers somewhere else in the state. That is not required. So that is one. The second is, as you deplete and poison these lakes, you are also poisoning the ground. And so therefore you have a consequent effect on the environment and the fauna and the all of the stuff that makes Bengaluru what it is. If you remember, recently there was a flood in Chennai.
Yes.
2 years. And every inquiry report talked about the reckless construction on the banks of the rivers, on the banks of you know, all those water bodies that cause water to back up. So therefore you also are putting Bengaluru into a situation where if there is, God forbid, some extraordinary weather, you know, emergency, heavy rain or whatever, you are setting up the city for a crisis. So the movement to reclaim and protect the lakes is a movement to say we want to reclaim and protect the city as is. We don't want a few builders who want to encroach the lake, an irresponsible set of pollution control people who want to kill off the lakes because that is the easiest way to dump pollution, to irreversibly alter the city. I consider myself, and almost all of these citizens who are involved, they bring their children because their narrative is, and they tell themselves that, and they tell me that this city is such a beautiful, proud city with such a long heritage. It can't be that this generation is presiding over the destruction of the city just because a few builders want to make that extra buck. And that is why this battle will be about citizens who believe that they are custodians of the city for a future generation versus those people who say, no, let's make a quick buck, kill the city, make our money and go and settle somewhere else. So this is not a trivial issue. This is an existential battle. I'm using metaphors like that, but this is an existential conflict between those who want to preserve the city for multiple generations and those who just want to exploit it and move on. So this is the battle that needs to be fought, and this is the battle that needs to be won.